3, 2, 1, and we are live. Welcome, my dears. You're back. I'm back. And this is, like it's always been, a knows, the first and the only channel dedicated entirely to the more obscure, to the long forgotten, to the brand new items in perfumery. And today is one of those occasions when we're talking about brand new items that I get to introduce to you. As you all know, I am not part of the overall reviewer influencer race to get first somewhere. I never have, I never will. But every once in a while, it happens that I discover something that I need to talk about, I think needs to be spoken about. And this is one of those situations. If you join us, please let us know where you're coming from. I know Katya's from Chicago. Cornelia from Romania. Welcome, everyone. So, Anita, welcome back. So today we will be talking about a house that I discovered in PT. You know, I went to PT by mistake, and you know, I wasn't necessarily trying in particular to touch upon one brand or another. But as always, I kind of go with the flow, and if I end up with something that that works, I keep at it, kind of a thing. Smaranda. Abdelouahid Faiz, bonsoir. Where are you coming from? Let us know where you're joining from, because this is what a community is. Introduce yourself to the others, and if you can contribute with information, either complete or correct me. Casablanca, Morocco's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think you've been with us before, so welcome back. I forgot what I wanted to say, but PT. I was there for one day. I had a few names written down. I am very attracted to those I've never heard of before. But since it's a big event, and since I talk a lot, and since I like to take my time with testing, it so happened that, you know, my road was not completely straight. It was quite sinuous. And at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, I was pulled in to visit this house called REGALIEN by somebody I knew there. And at their desk, I happened to meet or see again Mr. Carbonell, who repeated an invitation I had gotten earlier from somebody else to join them for drinks. And that's why, I think I said this before, it will be going down in history that day as the day I refused both Sultan Pasha from Sultan Pasha Atars and Carbonell to go out for drinks in a big group that I absolutely wanted to join, but I couldn't. Anyway, I'm in front of REGALIEN. There are 3 gentlemen there. The presentation was beautiful, albeit if I didn't know where they're coming from, or if the name didn't include Istanbul, I don't think I would have known where to place them stylistically. And I think if they're watching, if they're ever going to watch this this review, I think they should consider making it a little bit more particular, because otherwise it might be hard for people to remember the look, the feel, or hard to place them somewhere. If it doesn't say REGALIEN Istanbul, you wouldn't be able to tell where this is coming from. And given that Turkey has gotten lift off in the past few years, and I'm thinking, of course, Vanishane, I'm thinking about Pekci or Peki, I don't know how they call themselves when they pronounce their names. I'm thinking about Kasarebul, which I'm expecting will come out with very valuable things in the near future. There's a history in perfumery in Turkey. There's a great trove of information and resources when it comes to Istanbul. There's history there. They have tradition in smelly features. They had an empire, so they had access to a lot of the most interesting smells over the centuries and millennia, I guess. So I am not surprised Turkey is picking up as a hub for perfumery. I'm waiting for Russia to happen, and it is happening. very exciting things are happening in that part of the world. So I believe this is part of that part of that creative energy and part of that trend to capitalize on history and resources to make it work. So congratulations for the launch. It's not a new launch. This is a house that came out in 2016. I did not know about them, and I hadn't tested anything until this September at PT. Like I said, I ended up at the end of the day when my nose was shut, when my nerves were off, when I was hurting inside because I said no to Carbonel. How dare I? I mean, seriously, who the hell says no to Carbonel? But there are 3 gentlemen there. I've spoken to 2 of them. The third one, we didn't communicate much. He was busy, and there was enough talking to go around. So, but they were very presentable. They're very knowledgeable. They're very kind and pleasant to talk to. You know, it's just like you. And they're pretty too, so that never hurts. So there you have it. At the end of the day, when everybody was trying to put the clothes up and everybody was tired and whatever, all of a sudden we sparked this conversation, and I ended up testing with a few other people around me because I make a party wherever I go. I ended up testing the whole line. Now, Regalien has 2 lines. One is the regular line with Eau de Parfum. I tested them all. There were a lot of them. I don't remember any. And the last one, they started laughing because I'm like, nope, nope, put it back. Thank you very much. I am not one to meddle with words, as you know. The exclusive collection includes 4 fragrances. Again, when it comes to presentation, image, and branding, I think they can do better. I'm not saying they should rebrand, but I am saying they should consider a way to make the line extensible. As it is now, it's a line built around a deck of cards, the aces in a deck of cards. Unfortunately, there are only 4 aces in a deck of cards. What do you do if you come up with a new idea? How do you add it? How do you connect it to the end? This is something that Regalien needs to think about, apart from differentiating through maybe a different kind of identity or more particular kind of identity, more memorable identity. As of now, they're built in a French manner, which is not bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of competition to go around, so they should be weary of all these segmentation of the market, targeting, positioning, and so on. So the exclusive collection has 4 fragrances. All of them were good in a way that was very refreshing to me. After Milan, where things appeared to be either highly conceptual or veering towards mainstream, either through making pretty things or making palatable, freshy, trendy things. At PT, I think a lot of their launches went the other way. So there were a lot of naturalistic sustainability, that area of perfumery, and that's great. These guys came with, I don't even know how to describe it. It's fragrance you like to wear. This is not something that's brainless application, not by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to everything else that has a story, that has a concept, that has a heavy business policy behind it, these are just things that you get to want to wear, kind of a thing, which is very nice to see. It's FOA at Milan, in Milan, did that. Oman Luxury in Milan did that. So while they may not be opening new roads when it comes to creativity and thinking in a bubble, they are refreshingly beautiful to wear, all 4 of them. So the ones that I don't have here, I don't know how much they cost. Let's just put it out there. And I had learned by the end of the fair and after Milan, where I didn't know you can ask for samples. This time I actually picked what I liked from a line. And if the case was such, I would ask for a sample. And I got a few samples. At times I was refused. The people from Ayer said they're not giving samples to journalists. They only give samples to retailers. Fine with that. Somebody gave me a whole bottle. And these guys asked, which ones do you want samples for? And I said, out of all of this, the regular collection, nope, not for me. But the exclusive collection, I'd like a sample of this and a sample of this. And they gave me bottles. They're not full. They're not full presentation. You know, it's whatever they had at the end of the day, whatever is left in a bottle, but they're bottles. So there you go, my freebies, yay! I guess I'm swimming with the big guys if I'm getting freebies, but hey, I got 2 bottles that I want to talk about because these are the ones that I like the most from the collection. And I keep going back to them because, again, they're very, very, very easy to wear. The 2 that are not here, no, I'm sorry I didn't ask for the whole collection, but hey, the 2 that are not here were slightly more formulaic and more to be expected, more in line with what's happening in perfumery today. One was a rose that was also, if I remember it correctly, it was a fruity rose, but a water fruit, kind of like watermelon, juicy fruit, not the peachy, velvety kind as you would expect. And it was a beautiful rose. Patchouli, of course, just a regular expected rose combination, made slightly more fresh or more current through the addition of these fruits that I remember. I don't know if it was watermelon, but this melony kind of notes come to mind. The second one was very beautiful, very velvety, and I believe there's velvet in the name. Suede. A good leather, solid, and super strong. I felt I had been left with molecules in my nose without literally touching my nose to the nozzle. At that time, I was asking to pick up and smell the caps, as you know I like to do sometimes. So that was a very beautiful, peachy, again, slightly expected formulaic, but really, really beautiful suede. Those are the 2 I do not have. The 2 I do have are these. Vlad, welcome. Prague is with us, and Moni from Bucharest. Welcome, everyone. As you sign in, please let us know where you're coming from. The 2 I do have with me are the Iris and the Vetiver. As you know, I'm a Vetiver collector. I'm a Vetiver slight snob. I love Iris. I'm not an Iris snob. I'm not an Iris purist, but I love Iris in pretty much every manifestation, including the more commercial irises. I still like them. Nothing wrong with craving, Funyuns or chips from time to time instead of organic potato French fries. But these 2 are good for different reasons. I'd like to talk about the Perfumer a little bit, just so you have a little idea of who's behind the composition for these. Not all of them are declared or listed under the same Perfumer, but this is a guy I've been following for a little while, about 2 years, because I have some sort of attraction to the way he combines stuff. I think he's slightly brash. He's not entirely intentionally conceptual. He's not a Buxton, for example. He's not a Sorcinelli. First of all, he's French, so he's subject to the French aesthetic of perfumery, but he's kind of brash. He's kind of like, those cooks who are like, here's a little bit of salt. Let's just put more, kind of organic treatment to things. The calibration is not fine, but it's fun. And this is, I think, what attracted me to these. I don't know if it makes any sense, but if it doesn't, please stop me and ask questions at any point, okay? So the guy who's behind these is Sylvain Cara. Sylvain Carat, like I said, I've been following him, and it's hard to find information on him, but I've been following his trajectory here and there for the better part of the past 2 years or so. What I know of him is that at some point he graduated from the ISIPCA, the Unique Perfumery Institute in France, and he did some sort of mentorship with House of Nicolai. I think he worked directly or assisted directly Patricia de Nicolai, La Maestra, and I think he did a little bit of work, assistantship, mentorship with Le Labo. So his CV is good, is solid, right? He's fine. Let's see what he continues doing. As far as I know, he hasn't worked for any other house except for Regalien. I would keep my eye on this guy, just putting it out there. I hope he defines a style, because as of now, he does have one, but it doesn't have a recognizable signature. Keep an eye on him. So his name is Sylvain Carat, and he's French, and he's kind of like je m'en fiche with his perfumery style. He's definitely not Patricia de Nicolai, Patricia. So keep an eye on him. Sylvain Carat. That's his name. Okay, let's talk about these two. What I have is Clubs of Iris. Like I said, all of these are in a collection of 4 aces. The ace reserve as you see it. And this is the trèfle. This is the clubs, right, of the ace. All the aces, Clubs of Iris. I will start with this one because it's a very easy iris. It's super beautiful to wear. There's some loose ends that almost smells like the the vapors of something. But you know what? I don't care this time. It has a little bit of astringency that goes away really fast, something like tomato leaf or violet leaf. It has juicy, fruity notes, kind of in the same area. Not melony, but berry-ish, wild berries. Very, very fast and fast fading. It has a good rose. It has a good powder. It has a good carnation of the small kind, the little ones. We talked about carnation last week because I brought up the Souviens-toi from Papillon Rouge. It's a very warm, very enveloping, very cashmere, slightly smoky, slightly suede-ish iris. Gorgeous. We're going to be done very fast today because there's not much to be said about these fragrances apart from what I'm conveying to you. I don't know what their notes describe. As usual, I don't really go to look specifically for the notes because that you can do on your own. I'm just going to tell you what reads to the nose. The way they're built, both this and the other one, doesn't read completely naturalistic, doesn't read completely, like I said, finely and intentionally calibrated. It reads a little brash, but really beautiful. It's comfortable. It's easy to wear. I would recommend giving them a nose, and I can see these a no-brainer. Reach for them, put them on, feel like you're dressed that day. What else do I feel? I feel some patchouli. It's warm patchouli. It's not completely dusty. It's not completely earthy. It's not mentholy. It's somehow not hot, but warm. There's the same type of smoky vetiver in this as I feel in this other one. I don't know what kind of vetiver that is. And there's a little bit of something in the mastic area, so a little bit licoricey, a little bit that kind of condimented, anisic, mentholated undertone. It almost smells like absinthe, vaguely smells like absinthe. And it's a very velvety, very textural, very fluffy, very comfortable iris. That's it. It's beautiful iris. It's beautiful, easy to wear, not complicated, not intense, not like draining and I'm wearing an art piece type of thing. It's I'm wearing a fragrance that I like and I'm out the door. Very simple to like. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. That's it. Simple. Now let's move on to give it a nose. And if any of you are researching as I'm speaking to these fragrances, if you have extra information to add, if you find the prices, if you find the notes, if you want to, I don't know, research the perfumer, if you want to research the house, please feel free to comment right here. I don't think my comment section has ever been this quiet before. Usually there's so much chatter. Are you guys okay? Can you still hear me? Is my internet down? I've never seen you this quiet and behaved before. Just give me a sign to know that you're still there, please. All right. We keep pressing on. Sense, the new series you started with, did you know, is awesome. Thank you. All right. I'm cooking while you're watching me on TV. Yes, you're watching me on TV. You can see my nose hairs on your TV. Put me down. Elisabetta from Cluj. Okay, got it. Sense. Those are not new. I'm doing them on Instagram, but somebody finally told me to move them on YouTube as well because a lot of you are not on Insta. So I'm going to be adding them as I make them on the other side. Thank you. There's more where that came from. All right, so let's move on to this beauty, which makes me laugh because it's just like I said before. Sometimes you crave one piece of super sophisticated, highly conceptual, purified, distilled sushi. And sometimes you crave a huge pile of rustic pasta made with really good but simple ingredients, and you want a mountain of it. You want to put pasta on your face, kind of a thing. There's a place and a time for all the cravings, and this is what I feel this vetiver does for me because, you know, I'm a vetiver collector, I'm a vetiver fiend. I like to test, I like to try, I like to own, and I like to wear all kinds of vetivers, but I'm a slight purist when it comes to vetiver. This one is not an interpretation. It's not a new interpretation. This is not a purified vetiver this or some other ingredient that. It's not. It can be used as a reference point for any category of whatever you can put vetiver in. But this is a vetiver that you want to wear. This is easy to wear again. And it's so brash, it makes you laugh. You spray it and you go, like that. First of all, the sprays are like one of those misty long sprays. I happen to like these in opposition with the ones that look like Windex. They're very directed and central and they slather you. I like this kind of misty sprays. I don't know if they make a difference, but it almost feels like they aerate the fragrance the same way a decanter does with wine. I like it. I don't know what others feel about it, but I like it. This is called Spade of vetiver. Again, I think it's a great idea, but I don't think it's scalable. I don't know how you can add to this collection. And to be honest, I would like to see this collection being extended if possible. I don't know if it's financially feasible, but it is what it is. Bottles are, as you see them, kind of like pearly. They feel good. They're a little bit velvety. I think it's beautiful. This collection is beautiful to the eye, beautiful to the nose. Okay, this vetiver is fantastic. This vetiver is salty, like when you go to the seaside and you're barely learning to swim, and you take that first mouthful of salty water that kind of comes back through the nose. You know that sensation? You feel the salt. It's in the back of your throat. It's mixing with your own snot. You feel the salt in your nose and you feel it's liquid. This is what it feels like. It's an amazing sensation. Makes me, like I said, it made me laugh when I first sprayed it on, because there in PT we tried it on paper. It's a very aromatic vetiver. It almost smells like a bouquet garni boiling in salt water. It's almost like a brine, preparing a brine to marinate something, to brine a buffalo. I don't know, whatever each of you is brining. Mustard seeds, sage to the gods, and that provides it with a little bit of texture as well, because otherwise it would be very, very I don't know. I'm salty. I'm salty and crusty. Sage to the gods. To the gods. A little bit of marjoram. A little bit. Some. I'll go into it in a second. Yes, there are some similarities with Ego Facto. This is more brash. This is more like an expressionist versus an impressionist, if it makes sense at all. Like bigger slops of paint on a painting, relief, too much paint somewhere, but the whole effect is textural and you want to be there. It's a maximalist salty vetiver, if that makes any sense to any of you. So I said sage, I said marjoram, thyme. It feels like thyme. I don't know. Vetiver is a cooling factor. It's been used historically in everything from ice cream flavoring to eat, to weaving shades that you can hang on a window or on a door that people would spray water on to keep a house cool. It's been used in a lot of different cultures with a cooling factor, but I wouldn't say this is necessarily always cold. If any of you grew up in communism and got flus or got sick back then, you might remember that one of the favorite things for adults to do to cure us was to bathe us in highly mentholy caramel. So it's something between naphthalene and super, super mentholy camphorous thing. It was so icy cold. The sensation was so icy cold that it almost felt like burning. Another example would be if you grew up in areas where you get snow. You know that if you're a kid and you play in snow, you get so cold, your toes get so cold, at some point they start burning. It's kind of like that. It's a burning ice type of sensation with this, but it's very moderated. It's not bothersome at all. This makes me think of, apart from thyme, apart from sage, like I said, marjoram, a little bit of geranium, like the very curly geranium, very fragrant geranium. Makes me think of earthy, mentholy patchouli. I feel a lot of piney accords in the back. Sometimes the pine buds would be made into a syrup. Again, if you had a cold or you had laryngitis or stuff like that, they would give you syrup made out of pine buds because it's a calming agent and it helps with bringing inflammation down. That is phenolic and slightly mentholy as well. There's that, a little bit of that. I smell some other coniferous probably cypress in there, a little bit of cedar, good cedar that I smell. But it's a little bit of salting and insulting, even though, like I said, you smell it and you're like, kind of like that, because it's so brash, it's so indolent, it's so like, seriously, you went there kind of a thing. Even though, like I said, it's not conceptual, it's not trying to be an art form, it's just somebody who's cooking with too much salt, but somehow you like it, kind of a thing. You know you're going to drink a lot of water after that, but you like it. You enjoy that crazy mountain of pasta. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense to you guys? You feel bad after eating all the chips, but while you're eating them, oh my goodness, it's like, hits the right places. And if you would be to eat chips with less salt, you're not satisfied. It's like coming undone. This one, it takes you there, like from the first puff. So it's very salty, extremely creamy, aromatic, a lot of sage, a lot of willow bark almost. It smells like willow bark. Marjoram, thyme, the tiny aromatic and creamy, milky, perfumey kind. What else did I say? Cypress, cedar, pine buds. This is the first blast. After it settles, this too develops into a slightly harsh, I would say, combination of ingredients, where some of the incenses are starting to come out, and it almost feels like Brother Lucas. Hi, Poland is with us, and if you don't know Brother Lucas Szczesniak, he is one of the few biggest, best noses there are. He's a fragrance evaluator. Yeah, if you're a perfume maker or a flavor maker, you want to get on his good side. Or be nice to me and I'll be nice for you. No, he's a fantastic guy. Don't mind me. We are talking about REGALIEN. This is a brand that I got bottles from after I tested, after I kind of told them a lot of not so pleasant things at the stand. I think they like that. I think they like rough love. I like that they like rough love. I told them to their face that some of their stuff was not, I wasn't into it. And then I asked for samples from these two, and I ended up with whatever was left from their tester bottles. These are tester bottles that they had at the stands. Yes, I'm getting freebies that I asked for. Anyway, I'm talking about the Spade of Vetiver because it's kind of like a rough diamond type of thing, like a flower growing on a pile of dirt. The second stage, and it only has two for me when it comes to smell, the second stage is incensey. There's a lot of myrrh and sweet myrrh. You actually feel it better from the cap sometimes, but it almost feels condensed. Imagine something that has been liquefied and evaporated, so it's like super, super intense. Have never smelled sweet myrrh and myrrh in this kind of application before. It's very interesting. I've talked about patchouli. It's almost like a patchouli tea, like it's been dried and ground somehow, or like beaten. It's earthy, but again, sappy somehow. Frankincense, for sure. I don't know what kind. I don't think it matters. It's not the sticky Somali kind. It's probably like Omani. Who knows? And it doesn't really matter. Some frankincense. I'm playing with concepts here. And of course, I'm drooling the vetiver. I don't know what kind of vetiver it is. It feels like it's a little bit more complex than singular applications of vetiver as I've felt in the past, because it's dry and dusty. but it's also deep and smoky and almost liquid. So I've never smelled this many layers of vetiver before. I don't know how it's made. I don't know if it's chemical or natural. To be honest, in both of these, I don't know how much of it is natural and how much it isn't. But in this case, I really don't care. It's just like that. Sometimes it doesn't matter, because the effect, we're going by the effect, correct? The effect is that I want to wear them. I've had them on my desk, stuff that I need to review or want to talk about, or at least take pictures of, sits here on my desk, and I have another cart next to me. I've been wearing them. I sit on my desk, I do my regular, normal day-to-day job, and every once in a while I take and puff. It's a sign for me that it's not necessarily craveable, but wearable. I want to smell it. I want to smell it, and I wear it. I can't tell how much there was, and I can't tell how much there is still. They were lower level bottles when I received them, these testers. But it doesn't matter. I've been using them, which is a big deal, since we're talking about somebody with that. And that's a collection that I intentionally built. And then I can't show you what's around me because it's debauchery. The vetiver, like I said, somebody's saying essence and absolute, different fractions. What is the difference between, smell-wise, between essence and absolute? Lucas, please help us with the differences, if you can. How would you describe them to your nose? Right now on the neck, because it's been sitting there for a little bit, it's getting a little bit sticky. This mist gets everywhere, so it might not be the most practical when it comes to, okay, the absolute would be like the moist earth, so it's a moist vetiver. On the neck here, it smells more mentholy, that camphorous, mentholic, pine, whatever, patchouli, pine, menthol, whatever that note is. Even thyme sometimes can go slightly mentholy. Here, there's more myrrh and sweet myrrh and frankincense. And on my hand right now, like an hour after I pulverized and I reapplied, there's something sweet coming in, which I haven't felt. It's not declared anywhere, probably. I don't remember them mentioning it back then, and I don't remember feeling it because I wasn't wearing anything on my skin. But now there's a fruity, a little bit velvety, kind of peachy undertone coming through, with maybe a little bit of benzoin, but I'm not sure. Okay. So that's about it. I don't know what's in them. If any of you does, please let us know. You can comment here or leave a comment after the video is done. But these were two of the surprise discoveries from PT. My other favorites were Ayer. I liked Brava Nariz. I'm still behind on my Milan reviews, so I'm going to have to find another way to do these things because there's not enough time in a lifetime to do it. This was my other option. This was my most favorite from Milan, and this is Homo Elegans. But then I discovered that other people have already talked about it, so I don't want to waste your time. And I went to my second pick for today. And there you have it, folks. REGALIEN from Istanbul. A new house, relatively new, launched in 2016. Their slogan is made with love for great people. I hope they refer to historical figures in the past. They do have the tradition, they have the history, they have plenty of people to draw inspiration from. I don't think so, or I hope it's not like a classist oh, this is for the aristocracy, because the world is not going there any longer. And as a result, I ended up being the one reviewing them. There's globalization in the best of ways when it comes to both reviewers and access to not only fragrances, but resources for those fragrance makers we're talking about. And these are, they have a French perfumer. That would have only happened, on the Mohammed the Conqueror's times. They would export or import intelligence. We got to a point where we can do it today. It's not that hard, and I think it's a good thing for everybody. I do hope they find a way to refine their image. They have an image, but refine it in a way that's very easy to isolate for everybody who, if you hear Regalien, you should be able to see and know what they're about. This was their exclusive Ace Reserve collection that includes only 4 fragrances. I hope to see more of this. I'm sure their regular line is fine. It's just that out of what was on the table, this is what I picked, and this is what I asked for samples from. So I do hope they find a way to make it extensible and scalable, this line of beautiful, brash, wearable, super wearable fragrances. And keep an eye on this Cara guy. Seriously. If any of you knows more about him, please let me know. In the meantime, I will leave you. If you like this kind of facts or reviews on fragrance and perfumery, stick around, like, share, subscribe, tell others. It's a messy channel, that I know. It's a long review, that I know. But I'm not out to make money. And that's it. I will see you next week. I have quite a few things to talk about. One of them is a line that disappeared as fast as it appeared, but I think there's something to it. They branded themselves as the bio or organic company, and it's this one, Testamaura. We'll talk about it next week. 2 weeks from now, I will be in New York because I'm going to Scent Explore. Scent Explore, for those of you who don't know, is the first fragrance fair in the Americas. Think Milan. Max Forte is trying to do the same in the Americas. It's the first edition. It's going to be probably more like a big party. All the influencers are there. I don't know what I'm doing there, but I was invited to be part of a panel, and I said yes. And everybody's asking me why I'm going to hang out with all the influencers. And I've told everybody, and I still believe it, I think this has potential. I would love to have a serious, good quality, great brand fair in America. And I'm willing to put in the work. Like, it's if I can do anything to make it happen, I will go do what I can do, what I do best to make it happen. Yeah, I don't want to sit until it's good and then go and claim what. No, I'm in. I want to help. So I'm going to be there discussing my vision on what perfumery is, my vision of where perfumery is going, my impressions on reviewing, analyzing, critique, sponsorships, all the fun stuff. If they ask me, I'm not going to go there and do scandalous things. We can do live videos from the event. I was talking to Max actually to have a live transmission while it's happening. If not, there are going to be a lot of recordings from the panels. There are 2 panels, one with reviewers like myself, and big reviewers and influencers. Jeremy is going to be there. Demi is going to be, like, all the big guys. Sebastian's going to be there. Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. It's a really interesting mix that I don't really fit in. But like I said, if this is a collaborative stuff and we are to make this a good event, I want to contribute. I have a lot to say. I just hope it doesn't get too rowdy, but I won't keep my mouth shut. And then there's a panel with industry specialists, people who are editors, who are investors, who are brand owners, who are, you know, the other big guys that we talk about, perfumers and so on. So it's going to be an interesting affair. So 2 weeks from now, I will be on my way there. Probably won't have a live, but I'll keep feeding you the Did You Know bits. I have another one called Odd Notes, 60-second videos with things that nobody talks about. Yeah, in the end, we're all perfume addicts. Some of us just, you know, yeah. And that is it, folks. Remember to keep it kind, but keep it real. And have a great weekend. Oh, and if you tried the REGALIEN, please let me know what you think. I want to hear your thoughts. Please. And fragrance piece. Yeah, you know it.